All right. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. So, we have a very interesting subject that we're going to be covering today. Okay. I'm on a roll today. I've literally recorded at least 3 videos today, and I'm really enjoying doing this. So, what we're going to be speaking about today is we're going to be speaking about Donald Trump and some of the secret information that he has access to that he has not revealed publicly yet, but he knows some things that are very valuable and that are very important for us as a collective consciousness that he is saying that he's going to be revealing to the collective publicly if he becomes president. So I think that this is going to be something very interesting to unpack, and what I have here is I have a clip from the Joe Rogan podcast of when Donald Trump went on to Joe Rogan's podcast. And what happened is Joe Rogan asked him some questions about the JFK files and UFO disclosure. So, with that being said, Donald Trump has some information, some what we could call inside information that you can kind of tell he's holding on to. And I think what we can do is we can observe this video together. I'm going to go into a screen share and we're going to read some of his behaviors. We're going to observe some of his psychology and we're going to understand a little bit more about what he might be holding on to or what he might be picking up on. Okay, so I'm going to be giving some specific commentary throughout this screen share. So, this is what we're going into. We're going to see some of the deeper truths and mysteries that are pretty much underneath the surface in our mainstream collective. And potentially, these things will be coming up to the surface in the near future. So, with that being said, if you are interested in this, I highly recommend that you stay tuned for the rest of the video, and I will see you on the other side. And definitely make sure you slam the thumbs up button, hit the notification bell, and subscribe to my public YouTube channel to further connect in. Okay, I'll see you there. Okay, so here we are. So let's go ahead and let's get right on into this screen share and let's see exactly what Donald Trump and Joe Rogan are talking about to see if we can unpack things in a little bit more of a deeper way. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to jump us into a screen share and let's get started.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
One of the things that I want to talk to you about is the JFK files. And one of the things that you said was that if they showed you what they showed me, this was your quote, you wouldn't want people to know it either.
Um, so
So, for those of you that are unaware, there's a lot of speculation that the JFK assassination was something that was basically planned and set up intentionally by certain sections of our own government to try to stop him from releasing certain information to the public. Because during the time that JFK was president, he was actually starting to go into some of the UFO files to potentially bring that to the collective consciousness at the time, but then he was assassinated before he could actually take that deeper step and do that, which in many ways shows that at a collective level, that definitely was not something that we had the capacity for at that time. But it's really interesting to see how things seem to always come full circle. And now it looks like if Donald Trump ends up becoming the president, he's going to be revealing some of these things to the public, which is going to be interesting to look at.
I I opened them up partially. I was met with from good people. I mean, look, I mean, good people, people that were well-meaning. Mike Pompeo was one of them. He's a good person. Uh, they called me. They said, "Sir, would rather have you not." And I did open them. but I was asked by some people not to open them. There's a Martin Luther King file too, by the way, that they'd like to see. I don't know if you know, but there is that. But JFK in particular. So they called me, a lot of good people called me, people that that you would find reasonable people. And they asked me not to do it. So I said, well, we'll close it for another time. But if I win, I'm going to open them up. I'm just going to open enough time.
Why didn't you open it up the first time?
Because
though?
a lot of
What
times,
was the hesitation though?
addresses, people that are still living. There are people that are affected. And there could be some national security reason that I don't have to necessarily know about, but some very good, talented people asked me not to do it. I opened it up, and then they said, "Would it be possible for us to do that a different day?"
What? How much of
Nobody-
it did you read into?
I think it's going to be just fine to open it. Let me put it that way. I think it's fine. It's going to be time. It's a cleansing. It's really a cleansing.
That's an interesting word that he used. He's saying it's a cleansing. And in many ways of understanding it, that's literally exactly what it is, because that's how this energy functions in regards to karma, which is cause and effect. Cleansing is the fact that a lot of these things that were kept buried and that were kept hidden are now being brought up to the forefront and to the surface to actually be seen for what they truly are. So, it being a cleansing is right on par with exactly what I would see it as well. And from what Donald Trump is basically saying is he says that it's time to look into it. So he's already peeked into it. He's seen some of it and he feels like he is ready to release this to the public once he's in that position where he actually can. Okay.
So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it immediately, almost immediately upon entering office.
Well, the thing when people look at it from the outside and you sort of imagine what could be a reason why they
Yeah.
would not release those files, it would be there's people that were implicated
That's why I'm
in
gonna
the
open.
assassination.
Yeah. Well, when there are living people, you generally tend not to want to do it. When people are still living.
Living
So basically, what he's saying is that one of the biggest reasons why they didn't want to release these files to the public, probably especially during the time when JFK, um, around the time when he was assassinated, um, is because there's going to most likely be information in those files that points to some of the organizations or the groups of people that are still alive that were involved with that. So that's definitely something that's interesting to look at. But I think what Trump also might be referring to is the fact that a lot of these people may have very well passed away since then. And now it's time to start revealing these things to the surface because they're not here anymore.
people that formerly worked for the government.
For the government and living people that were somehow involved in it. And you tend not to do that. But it's time to open them. I can't tell you whether or not they're going to find anything of interest. And I did partially open. I think I've opened 50%, but I was asked not to do it. And I thought that was a reasonable ask. But now I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it very soon. There's a lot of interest in it.
One of the things that
There's
I'm
a lot of interest in the people coming from space,
yes.
And I know you're interested.
Oh,
in
I'm
that
very
too.
interested in that.
Interesting. Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of interest for sure in regards to what is going on within space and what role that extraterrestrial consciousness plays in our current collective consciousness. Because for those of us that are practicing occultists, we are using ancient spiritual practices to literally communicate with extraterrestrial energies that are most likely in our local solar system. So it's going to be super, super interesting to hear what type of documented information that our own government has with communication with extraterrestrials, because I know for a fact our government is absolutely in communication with these beings. If I'm in communication with these beings and I can have a sit down conversation and invoke them into my body and embody that energy to a certain degree where I can establish a telepathic communication, then I know for sure the government is also doing these same things. And they probably have a lot of their own written documentation of what it is that they're communicating with, what the purpose is, and what role that these extraterrestrials are playing right now on our planet. So, this is definitely going to be some really fascinating, really interesting information that I am really looking forward to hearing a lot more about. And this is such a huge moment right here. I mean, this is a Joe Rogan podcast, which is the archetype of America's podcast, literally. And then we have Donald Trump on it, who was literally a president who is about to be our next president. That's my current belief. And if not, he's still running regardless. And this is a huge moment where just talking about these things is almost mind blowing. Like, this is a collective initiation and a collective shift here just for Joe Rogan and Donald Trump to be talking about this in this type of way. And you can almost tell that the way that they're speaking about it is in such a authentic human way. There's not like all these layers and filters of I've got to, come off this way. I have to sound this way. They sound very reasonable and like curious human beings that are interested in more of this stuff. And this is really exciting as, me, a human being on this planet, um, and for all of us here to be able to be alive during this time and experience this shift, because I know for a fact, and this is what I've received from my communications with these extraterrestrial entities, that we are moving into an age where these beings are going to become more and more and more present to us. And that is first going to start through different forms of spiritual awareness that starts to unfold more on our planet. But it's eventually going to get to the point where these beings are going to be able to actually show up in a physical form with with us being able to observe them in the physical form. And that's really what it is that I want to experience with these energies myself, because I have seen these entities manifest in their energetic forms many times over. And I have seen physical objects and physical things be altered from these entities, but I have yet to see and interact with a full physical, like, bodily form of one of these entities that is appearing in front of me. And that's something that I do look forward to. I don't know how long it's going to take till we get to that point, but I would definitely say within the next 10 to 20 years, this is something we are going to be looking at as a collective consciousness. And definitely within the next 50 years, I guarantee you there is going to be alien extraterrestrial contact in the physical body that is going to be open to the collective. Okay. And that's going to be really interesting to see. All right. So let's continue on.
How much did they tell you about that?
A lot.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd they tell you? How much can you tell?
So
how's that work? Is it like super
I think
top
I
secret?
Can tell,
Tell
I think,
me.
well, based on Hunter Biden, I can say whatever the hell I
Yes.
want, right? But no. But I interviewed a few people. It's never been my thing, I have to be honest. I have never been a believer. I have people that Area 51 or whatever it is,
Mhm.
I think it's the #1 tourist attraction in the whole country or something. Area 51 in Las Vegas. Do you know that, right?
Sure. I know what it is.
So anyway, but it's a big tourist thing. So I interviewed jet pilots that say they saw something. If you saw them, you'd love to have them as your
I've had a
son.
couple in here. Commander David Fravor.
Yeah.
I had him in who had that sighting in 2004. Very,
Yeah.
very compelling with video
compelling.
evidence, radar evidence.
I interviewed,
Ryan Graves.
I don't believe his name, but I interviewed jet pilots that were solid people. Perfect. I mean, great pilots, great everything. And they said, we saw things, sir, that were very strange. Like a round ball, but it wasn't a comet or a meteor. It was something. And it was going 4 times faster than an F-22, which is a very fast plane, And it was round, which is in theory a great shape.
So when you were talking to these people, was this something that you were compelled to have conversations
No.
about? Was this your personal
No,
interest?
a little bit. It's not a great interest for me, but it's a little interest. I get that question as much as almost any question. Do you think that we have aliens coming, flying around or whatever?
What do you think?
There's no reason not to. I mean, there's no reason not to think that Mars and all these planets don't have life.
This is an interesting part of this clip. So I'm going to interpret it the way that I'm understanding it and the way that I'm observing it, that I don't think a lot of people were able to catch. And I definitely don't think Joe Rogan was even able to catch. But Donald Trump is basically moving into a conversation of life potentially existing on Mars. And then Joe Rogan is going to say something along the lines of, no, we don't see actual like physical life on Mars yet because we don't see it. And you could just kind of tell that it was almost like Donald Trump. I don't know if he was conscious of it or if this was unconscious, but it was almost like he still knows and feels like there's still life on Mars. And the reason why that would be interesting is because when we're talking about higher density entities, these are beings that don't exist in the same dimension as we do as humans, which means within their energetic dimension, to us, they could be completely invisible, yet have an entire life and a reality that we just can't see because it's a completely different dimension than where we are currently existing. So when Joe Rogan goes to say, oh no, there's not aliens, that we can see on Mars, he's assuming that these aliens are going to be in the same dimension that we are as humans. And that's the reason why we should be able to see them. But I think kind of what Trump is maybe getting at, I don't know if he's aware of it or not, but he does seem to believe that there is life on these other planets. And I'm sure he also has come across information from other people that have probably relayed this information back to him, which probably leans him a little bit more into why he believes what he believes. But from my understandings of the occult and once again being able to communicate with these entities, I've had so much communication with entities, but I have not yet seen a full on physical manifestation to the point where I can touch it and feel it. I have manifested them in front of me within an energetic field that's almost like I'm speaking to like a hologram of a being, of a species of being that's standing in front of me. I've had that happen, but because the entity is in a different density, a different dimension, they interact with us in a different way as humans. And a lot of the times we can't see them unless we have a really strong psychic vision to be able to perceive within that dimension. But it also doesn't mean that these higher density entities cannot assume physical forms within our dimension either, because that is absolutely what they can do. And that's exactly what happened when it came to the building of the pyramids of Giza in Egypt. These were higher density aliens that manifested on our planet to support the Egyptian people to build the pyramids of Giza. And they originally came down in energetic bodies and then assumed partial physical bodies to actually help build those pyramids. And the pyramids were built because these are significant energetic structures on our planet that are acting as ley lines that support our planet's evolution. And that's why they came down. So let's go ahead and continue on with this clip here.
Because
Well, Mars, we've had probes there and rovers,
yeah,
and I don't think there's any life there.
Well, maybe it's life that we don't know, but
maybe there was life there at one point in time. This is a speculation about Mars.
So he says maybe there's life there that we don't know. And that's where I think Trump was referring to potentially higher density entities. And you can see Joe Rogan is still kind of stuck in his human awareness and not really seeing past that veil, so to speak. He's like, no, we've had probes on there. We don't see anything. It's not there, but as he's going to evolve and as he's learning and expanding his understandings within time, he'll start to realize that there are uh, densities, there are dimensions that energy, intelligent energy can live and exist within that we can't see as humans unless we're psychically attuned to that dimension. All right, continuing on.
That Mars had an atmosphere at one point in time, a long time ago, that could support life. It
Yeah.
also had large bodies of water, but we've had no evidence of even bacterial life that exists on Mars. But the
It's
universe
not
is
been a
pretty
big
vast.
thing for me. I mean, when I looked at what China did to this, they would have never done it with me, where they put the balloon up, and a
Mhm.
lot of people thought for a little while that was
Right.
one of these things. So
Well, that's a lot of the speculation too, that some of these drones that
Could
hover
be.
over battleships, that
Could
these are
be.
Chinese drones and that
That
they're not
could be.
UFOs.
They could be also.
There's some super
But I did
sophisticated.
interview, let's say 3 or 4 guys that, and without tremendous interest, if you had them, as I said, you'd love to have them as your children. Solid, beautiful people. They said, "Sir, there's something there." You know,
There's
they
something
said
there.
they've said it. Yeah,
Yeah, I've talked to quite a few of
they're
them.
not conspiracy guys.
Well, I mean, just the Commander David Fravor thing in 2004 off the coast of San Diego, they clocked that thing going
Yeah.
from 50,000 feet above sea level to 50 in a second.
Yeah,
They don't know what it is.
That's tough to beat.
Yeah, they saw something in the water. It was hovering over that something that was making a disturbance in the water. They got video evidence of this thing. The 2 different fighter jets with pilots in them saw it. There's, visual evidence.
Yeah, and I used to live in San Diego too. Actually, literally right where these UFOs were spotted, because I lived right on the ocean side there. And there is no doubt about it. There is a strong spiritual energy that is in that location. I can just feel it like on an energetic level, on like a ley line level. You can tell that there is something going on over there. I don't know exactly what it is, but I have a personal belief that there might be some sort of extraterrestrial entrance point under the ocean somewhere that they can actually travel to with their craft and visit within a physical form in some way. That's just a personal belief that I have. I don't know if this is for sure going to be documented anywhere or if this is like proven to be true, but this is something that actually when I used to live there, I would connect with space a lot. I would go out at night and I would stare at the sky and I would try to develop communication with whatever I was able to get in touch with. And I started getting these visions, almost these psychic visions that were coming to me that were showing me alien craft going in water and then entering into these um almost like underwater caves. It's hard to explain, but it was like caves that they would go into, and then there was an actual space for them to get out of their craft and experience a physical form without being disturbed by other humans and things like that. So once again, is this proven? No, this is something I was psychically tapping into, but I do think it's interesting because I have lived in that area and I have um and I have seen a lot of people talk about these UFO sightings in San Diego and how the ships always seem to go into the water at some point, which is interesting.
Photographic evidence, video evidence, radar evidence, whatever the hell it is, it moves in a way that would turn a human being into jello if they're
Yeah.
inside of it. The G-force, no one.
And that's exactly so that's why these aliens are able to exist in these craft and go at speeds that we wouldn't be able to survive as humans because they're not human. These are not human beings. They do not have physical bodies the same way we do. They are existing in a different dimensional body that can withstand things that our human bodies cannot.
Would survive.
Oh,
So
the
like, what is
G-force.
that? And we don't. It doesn't have a heat signature. They don't know what their propulsion system was. But
When you fly in some of these jets, these pilots have to be in great shape.
oh yeah, I flew
When
with the
you
Blue
talk
Angels
about
once.
Yeah, as
Yeah, I
an
got to
example.
fly. I guess
And
it's
those
an
are older,
FA-18,
and those are older machines.
and they're crazy.
When you fly in some of these things,
Oh my
it's
God.
amazing. Yeah, but
Yeah,
you
I can
gotta
imagine.
You got to be special.
All right, so that was it. So I think we definitely covered some interesting stuff here. Very exciting times that we are currently in. So I'm really looking forward to it. I want to continue to see how these things unfold. And now is the time to really honor your inner process. Now is the time to start addressing your trauma work. Now is the time to start being authentic and connecting with your core and letting go more and trusting the process, because this is what is going to be essential for how we are evolving as a human species as we're moving into a whole new world. And that's literally exactly what we are all going to be experiencing. And especially within the next 5 years, there are going to be a lot of changes, which are going to be some really cool changes to see how things shift. And as I said, I'm really looking forward to it. And this is going to shift a lot of things within the occult field as well, which is also going to be really cool to see. All right. So if you got value from this, slam the thumbs up button, drop down into the comment section. Let me know what you learned from this. Let me know what your perspective is. Let me know what your thoughts are. I would love to hear it. Hit the notification bell, get notified whenever I'm posting. I literally posted, I think, 4 times today. I've been on a roll, lots of fun stuff to talk about. I'm really enjoying going into this type of content and breaking it down and uploading it to my channel and, being able to engage with all of you as we get to watch through it. So it's a really fun time. Okay. So make sure you get notified whenever it is that I am posting. Also, make sure you subscribe to my channel, because by subscribing, you are further energetically connecting to everything it is that I am teaching here. Make sure you take advantage of that. Okay, so copy and paste this link, send it to someone that you feel like might need to hear this or that would gain value from it. And now I'm going to take your awareness to the most important link. It is the Patreon below. This is the Patreon. This is where you are going to gain access to exclusive content. Everything is organized in different collection sections, all the way from occult practices, studies, and education, even an entire 7-hour long magic training course that takes you from start to finish to become a integrated, healthy occultist. This is for beginners and seasoned practitioners. No matter what you are, you can absolutely learn from it. Okay. I have all of that stuff organized in the Patreon, as well as other collection sections addressing trauma, nervous system regulation, and working with the shadow. Tons of valuable stuff. There's about 1,450 plus members that are active on the Patreon now, and it is continuously growing every single day. At this point, literally, I think every single day there are about like 10 new members that sign up, and you can even sign up for free. So I encourage you to at least sign up for free to get access to some of the exclusive content that's on there. And then, of course, as you upgrade your tier, that is what's going to give you access to all of the exclusive content, the most valuable stuff. So I would definitely encourage you to look into it. Okay. At tier number 3 and 4 of the Patreon, this is extremely unique. This is a ritual service, which is the only ritual that I personally perform for anyone. And it is for my collective. It is for you as the receiving participant. So this is an energetic transfer that I do on the 29th of every single month. What I do is I channel a lot of this extraterrestrial energy that I am personally associated with. I channel it into my body, and then I transfer my energy and everything I'm channeling into you as the receiving participant to support you through the deeper processes of working with your shadow and working with the deepest portions of your unconscious mind. So, what it's going to do is it's going to slowly initiate a process of surfacing a lot of repressed energies in your nervous system so that you can start working with them, coming into acceptance with them, processing them, and then ultimately releasing them from your system so that you can start grounding more into your authentic self. Your resonance can start changing, and then that is going to have an effect on the world around you. Okay. All of this is initiated through this ritualistic service, and it is not an overnight thing in the sense that it's not just one day and then everything's changed. It is a process that you have to commit yourself to as you're going through it to do the deeper work, but there are about 300 active participants that receive this on a monthly basis. And there are tons of people that leave positive feedback that are receiving this ritual service and the different energies that are coming up for people that are taking advantage of it. All of that, Patreon, first link below. We'll leave it there. Second link is where you can book one-on-one calls with me or mentorships. If you want to jump right into working with me, this is one of the most intimate ways to personally connect with me. And we're going to go deep into your own trauma history, create a foundation for you to regulate your nervous system and heal that trauma, or move into the process of healing that trauma. And then we can start talking about occult initiation if that is also something that you are interested in. Okay. So all of that is in the second link below. I will let you look into that if you resonate. Now, in the same second link, you can book a tarot card reading with Alexia. She is a very gifted, intuitive tarot card reader, and I encourage you to take advantage of getting a reading from her. All right. Third link is a Lucifer's Foundation course, which will give you everything you need to know to develop a relationship with Lucifer, the light bearer. Then the fourth link is my YouTube memberships. This is where you can become a part of the Universal Mastery family. And I would absolutely love to have you a part of the collective. That's exactly what we are. We are a family that support each other through these deeper layers. And we're doing the real work together, which is not always easy to do. But that's what we're here for, is to support each other as a community. Okay. You're also going to gain access to early content releases from YouTube and exclusive content as well. So check that out if you're interested. Now, the fifth link is my book recommendations for you. These books are for the occultists. So if you're someone getting into occultism and you're looking for fundamental tools to be able to utilize to support your practice, that is what I encourage you to check out, the fifth link below. With this being said, we're going to wrap it up here. I appreciate all of you very much, and I hope you all have an amazing rest of the day or night wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.